Good evening, fans. Tim Kitzrow here, the voice of NBA Jam, and you're listening to the Game Dev Breakdown Podcast, brought to you by CodeWritePlay.com. Whoa, boom shakalaka.
My mom gave birth in 1985. I was bluer than a Pac-Man ghost, barely alive. In the Cold War, my only blanket was Tetris. I played Rampart with Reagan, rampaged the world for breakfast. The laundromat was my sanctuary, the arcade was my church.
Hey everybody, Todd Mitchell here. Welcome back to Game Dev Breakdown. So glad you're here. This time we are going back into the Patreon vault because there is still more good content that was recorded, only released to a few people, and this stuff is like a good year old now. And there are some things, not all of it, but some of this stuff I think is really good to have here on the record as part of the collective content of the podcast here. So the story behind what you're going to hear tonight, I did a video for YouTube that was unlisted, but it went out to the Patreon group, and it is basically a short discussion, well, about a 20-minute discussion on the topic of motivation, because several people in the group came to me and said, hey, we're starting new projects. We love hearing motivational talk and ideas about how to stay on the grind and keep moving toward the finish line. I was starting some new stuff too, and I said, what a great topic, right? So I put some notes together. I really did some soul searching about my approach to this stuff, both the things I'm good at and the things I'm not good at. Put together some notes from people I've been listening to on the topic, and just took an objective look at the way we can sort of improve our stride toward our goals. So that was popular with them. Later on, more recently, I was in a discussion on Reddit about the topic with some people, and I said, hey, I'm not going to link you to this 20-minute video of mine, but here are some things I gathered last year when I was thinking about this, and people went, hey, that's great stuff. Can we see the video? And really, I wasn't, Reddit does not like when you self-promote, but these guys wanted to see the video. I showed it around, and they seemed to enjoy it. So if Reddit is okay with it, good God, I will show anyone at this point. So won't bother with the video, but I grabbed the audio from that talk. I tried to clean it up a little bit. It was recorded on lesser equipment than I use now. But if you'll bear with me and give it a listen, some of it's no-brainer stuff. I'm sure a couple of you will go like, clearly you haven't breached any new topics here. But I find that when I continuously listen to little bits of this here and there, it does help keep me motivated. It keeps my head in the right space. It keeps me moving. So let this be that for you today. And maybe that's just a little puff of air in your sails on your way to your destination. I hope it is. So give it a listen, and I hope you enjoy it. Hey, friends. So the topic of motivation came up. I told Patreon I was going to start doing weekly videos during project season, now that the Game Dev Breakdown podcast is between seasons 2 and 3, coming back in September with more cool interviews and stuff. But during that time, I announced at the end of my interview with Blake J. Harris that I'm going to write a book. I have already started to write a book. It will be my first book. I had a chapter of a book published in 2016. I think it was early 2016. I had a chapter of a book included in the Ultimate Freelancer's Guidebook. And it was a story that I wrote and did not get paid for, but every once in a while I'll get lucky and I will walk through a Barnes & Noble or something and they'll have a copy on the shelf, which is cool. But I'm really tired of not having that author title under my belt because I love to write. I've wanted to write books for a long time, and I've got a topic that people continually ask me about right now, and that's podcasting. And I'm going to write a book basically detailing all of my knowledge about podcasting, and I've got like 6 years in that field now, and I've come a long way in that time. I can prove that, and this is not a brag. You can look up how terrible my podcasts were 6 years ago, and maybe you like them now, maybe you don't, but you cannot deny they got better. They got better. So I've learned a lot of things about booking guests, interviewing people, promoting yourself. All of that aside, this is not a commercial for the book. I am going to be busting my ass this summer trying to finish that book because it's for sure coming out this year. I am barreling toward the finish line on this thing. I would like to be done writing it this summer. because we're my wife and I are taking a very rare vacation, just the two of us. We did not do this one time last year at all. We're going away, just the two of us, in September, and I want to have the writing done. If I want to casually edit after that, no problem. But I want to take this summer extremely seriously, and that's why we're talking about the topic of motivation now that I have made that announcement after an interview with Blake J. Harris, one of the most popular authors on the market right now. I could have picked my timing better, right? But so a lot of us in the Patreon group talked about how we're in the middle of starting new projects. So we're really at the beginning of starting new projects, and motivation is different for every one of us because some of these people work full-time. Some do not work full-time like myself. And so it's different already because if you're working full-time, the challenge is to motivate yourself to come home after 8 hours, 9 hours, 10 hours, whatever it is, and not put your feet up and watch Wheel of Fortune, whatever you want to watch on TV, whatever you would like to be doing, playing Red Dead Redemption 2, the thing that you have to deny yourself on a daily basis if you are going to work on a project. In my case, I don't have anyone who's going to fire me for not writing that book. That becomes its own problem. I know that doesn't sound like a problem. That's a problem. If nobody's cracking the whip on you or whatever you want to say, that does become a problem. If I am dealing with, you guys wouldn't believe the stuff I'm dealing with around the house right now. We have the landscaper who transplanted trees and did a bullshit job, then got into like this violent confrontation, not violent, super hostile confrontation over the phone, threatened us, these trees are going to die, nobody's going to help you, blah, blah, blah. You guys are acting like assholes and treating me like garbage. And like, we just wanted the job done right. It looked like he dug a shallow grave right there and in our backyard and threw garbage into it. I've got an accountant that we're dealing with right now who doesn't want to work with me. Just straight up doesn't want to work with me. She's real happy about my wife, who's still working in traditional employment and making a ton of money. But now that I have left professional software and I have this fledgling media studio it has multiple revenue streams, but they're not big yet. It's a small business, literally a small business with small revenue. She doesn't want to fucking deal with it. And we're going to fire her because she thought that she could ignore me and my wife would be like, yeah, he's a dick, don't worry about it. No. So I am going to find a different accountant who loves small businesses, and I'm going to reward him with my entire family's finances because that's how we roll. You don't pick someone in this household and just whatever. But this is the kind of stuff we're dealing with. And as I'm trying to spend each day, first and foremost, spending quality time with my son. I am blessed to be independent right now. I love being a part of my child's life. We are also in some forms of conflict about his education. Certain facilities have different programs and they advertise this and don't do that. You've always got this stuff no matter who you are. Maybe your kids are grown up and gone, or maybe kids are still in the future for you. I hang out with and collaborate with people and share ideas with like-minded people in all different stages of their lives. And I've got a ton of respect for all of you because we've all got these crazy ass challenges that will take every moment of our time if we allow them to. So the motivation issue for you, if you've worked a full day and have to come home and work on your stuff, is different from me if I need to keep myself awake until after my son goes to bed, or I need to be disciplined and work on the right things at the right time so that no one comes up empty-handed because they need my support during the day, like my young son. I'm not going to take it out on him that I don't have enough time, right? So it becomes this thing. Your project has to get done through regular work sessions, if not a fully regular schedule during the day and during the week. And it's easy when it's a side hustle for all of us. It's very easy not to do it, which is why everyone around us is so good at not doing it. We all know, my wife doesn't want to make games. A lot of my friends want to make games. They would love to make games, but they're unable. Some are unwilling, to spend the time, learn the skills, apply the skills. We have given ourselves a very challenging task, and I do not hold it against the people who don't do it. But the question is, for those of us who are determined to do it, how do we keep moving toward that finish line? So I asked myself, how do I do this in a way that does not make this a typical motivational video? Like, I don't want to compete with Joe Rogan and Gary Vee and whoever your favorite person is who does these videos. I never watched a Gary Vee video until like last week, and now I've done almost nothing but watch him, so I don't want to sound like Gary Vee. That's going to be in the back of my head, and I'm going to be worried about that. But what I did realize is there's really no way to keep yourself motivated to do these individual tasks on these individual days without thinking about the big picture. And that is why so much motivational stuff sounds generic as shit, because it breaks down into these individual things like this. So you do have to be aware of the big picture. And I realized that almost everyone breaks down into these two states you can be in. You can either be seeking comfort or you can be seeking change. And that ends up being so much of the motivational issue. If you are seeking comfort, you are coming home after that day and you are rewarding yourself. And I understand that you would reward yourself because you worked your ass off all day. You're meeting your obligations in this world. You're contributing something. And damn it, you want to take your shoes off and put them up on the couch and you want to watch Wheel of Fortune. That's totally cool. I get it. At the same time, someone somewhere is deciding not to do that so that they can go down into their basement and go to their workstation they set up and turn on the computer and open Visual Studio and crank out code until midnight. And that person is moving towards a finish line. And it doesn't mean you're doing something wrong, but you're not doing something that they're doing right. That becomes the entire motivational struggle. You have to find that balance. And that balance is not going to look like balance. It's going to look like an incredible amount of burnout, kick your ass work.
When the global supply chain is strained, one essential transportation network continues to keep the economy connected 24/7. That network is freight rail. We're increasing hiring and capacity, all while investing more than $20 billion per year into our network to improve reliability every day. We never stop working to better serve our customers because freight rail works.
And that's how finish lines are reached. If you look at a marathon, it does not look like a reasonable activity. It looks like running on top of running and refusal to quit and doing something that at the time is not the best thing for your body, but god damn it, you're going to get to that finish line. And that's how people win those medals. And that's not a participation award. Every person there got to that finish line because they didn't stop. They just didn't stop. That's all it was. They had a choice to make with every step, and they said, no, I'm going to keep going. So you have to decide what your reason is for seeking change and determine the comfort that you're willing to give up, that you're able to give up. You don't have all the time in the world during the day or during your life. You have a certain amount of time allocated to you, and you have to determine how to apply it each day toward your goal. So, ways to do that, you basically just have to pick out things in your life that you're willing to give up. I'm not going to watch football tonight, or I'm going to watch it tomorrow on the DVR, or I'm going to, sometimes it looks like, hey, I don't get to work out for 3 hours today. I'm going to work out for 2 hours, and then I'm going to code, or whatever. People spend their time on all kinds of things. I don't get to play Red Dead Redemption 2. I still haven't played Red Dead Redemption 2, and I am a game designer and developer, and that's probably kind of weird. But look at all the stuff I got done. I put out 20-something podcasts during season 2 and reached all kinds of people, and it took constant communication, and I still put out some code projects, and I am about to write a book. This year, a book is coming out with my name on it, because the change I want to see is Todd Mitchell, author. When we go hang out with my wife's friends from work, the fun thing about this is it can be as vain as you want. I don't want to introduce myself to another person that my wife knows from work who put themselves through med school and is now a high-paid doctor until I can say, hey, how you doing? Oh, no, I'm not a doctor like my wife, but I am an author. Because sometimes it's not fun to go, I'm a game designer, and my only game is a mobile app for kids. That's why I want to put out my next game, too. I'm so glad. Can I tell you the difference between aspiring game designer, and everybody on Twitter talks about, like, if you want to design games, you're a game designer. You're not aspiring. I don't think that's the way we should look at it, to be honest. I think that's maybe not the best. It's not a loser mentality, but it's not a winner mentality. You've got to hold that above your own head until you get there. And I love everybody who works on game design stuff, whether they have a title shipped or not. I love nothing more than hanging out with those people and sharing ideas, talking about life, talking about the struggle, because I get it. And the people who haven't gotten over that wall yet, I get that too. And I don't think less of those people, but I want nothing more than to see them get there. I really do. So for me, part of this is also I want my kid to grow up and go, Daddy's an author and Daddy makes games and stuff like that. I don't want my kid to have to think fast to make me sound good in a conversation. I don't want that. I had to do that for my dad all the time. My dad had these like little piddly jobs and shit, and he would get fired from them because he didn't like to work. And I would have to, like, my dad is like a restaurant manager. Cool, where does he work? He's not working right now. And he's still not working right now. Like, my dad's kind of a douchebag, so I don't mind saying that. So the point is, you have to be the kind of person who relentlessly pursues change. And to do that, you've got to have those goals in your mind. And you have to break that big picture focus down and apply it daily. You have to be willing to go, hun, when our kids go to bed, if you don't mind, I'm going to head downstairs and put in 2-3 hours of code and then get to bed. That kind of thing. You have to make, or, people who live alone, they have to go like, I'm not going out to the bar tonight to see my friends. Tonight I code. Tonight I write. Tonight I compose. Whatever it is. It sucks sometimes having to be that guy. We talk about this on the podcast all the time, to be that creative person who has to bump up those creative pursuits with your real life. And you have to tell the accountant that they have to redo your tax return so you can make some more games, because Patreon's holding up your first paycheck because your new LLC isn't filed yet, because your last tax return isn't correct yet. Motivation is a funny thing, and you have to apply it to stuff all day, every day, to things you would never normally expect. I have to get my ass through that DMV line, get the right form, or get that woman to pick up the phone and answer my questions so I can get back to work. You have to think about all of these things as products of your motivation. Every little battle you win throughout the day that lets you get something done or lets you take care of business, every little win in your entire day can compound that momentum, and you can just keep it rolling, and you can keep thinking about the positive change that it's making every single day. I'm not going to go into a ton more about it. I would love to talk more about schedules, but everyone's life is so different. Everyone's situation is so different that, like I said, this ends up sounding like a lot of the same advice that a lot of the same motivational speakers give. But if you look at the people and what they've accomplished, these things that they recommend do make sense because they do apply to everyone. It's simple math. If you add a step plus a step plus a step, and that number of steps exceeds the number of steps to the finish line, you cannot fail. You can't fail. If you refuse to stop, you can only win. And it's as simple as that. So I choose to look at my new projects, the writing, the game I want to do next. I look at these things as more steps toward the positive change that I want to make in my life. I would love to let my wife work a little bit less because of the money that the media company brings in. I would love for my son to see what he's doing, to see what the company is doing, what I'm doing, and for him to be proud to talk about that to his friends and maybe consider that it's something he wants to do one day. We always joke about, no, son, don't do what I'm doing. This is crazy. But it's as simple as that. So for me, this week and how this applies in real life, I've had to look at those elements of change that I want to create, and I've had to apply them to stupid conversations with an accountant who doesn't want to talk to me. I've had to apply them to a guy who wants to fucking waste my time with tree transplants of trees that are going to die because he did a bad job, because he chose his path in life and he's doing something he doesn't like to do, and he's not motivated to do a good job. And the guy on his crew is not motivated to come to the door and knock on the door and ask if he can use my bathroom. He's going to piss on my wall. That really happened this week. You wouldn't believe the shit that I've dealt with. And I stayed motivated because I think every little day, if I spend enough time to write, you guys know how fast I can write an article. I'll turn 3,000-4,000 words around in a heartbeat. I write long show notes every week for the podcast. But if I can apply it to a chapter of a book and make that article look like a book chapter, now we're going to get a book done soon. And I'm going to say, hey, my name's Todd. I'm an author. End of story. And in my brain, I'm not going to be thinking, kind of. You got that one chapter in someone else's book. You didn't get paid. Or I'm going to say, my name's Todd. I'm a game designer. And if they ask, I'm not going to have to go, well, I made one small game. It costs $1 and it teaches kids the alphabet and they don't know if it's a good game or not. I'm going to go, I made an indie game that people are talking about. You can find it on Steam or the Epic Store. Point is, you got to cling to that stuff. You got to cling to those things you want to do and that you want to see and the reputation you want. And you basically have to break it all the way down to the way you handle your week, what you lock out to what time you lock out to work, what you cut out of the day that you're not going to do. This week for me, it's been a lot of unwinding time at night when I could be playing a game on my phone. Instead, I have my Surface Pro with the stylus, and I'm writing a lot of my book in cursive on my tablet because I need to maximize the time that I have. I don't get to this office you're looking at very often. It is once a day for a short period of time if I'm lucky, and I spend a lot of time hanging out with my kid, running around the house, trying to take care of things. I think my wife's probably left for work and probably walked up to my door to say goodbye, but I was recording this, and I may have missed my chance to say goodbye to her. We make sacrifices around here, and that's what success looks like. I don't believe success looks easy for anyone ever. They make it look easy on YouTube, and I love that skill because I can't even sit here and talk about this and make it sound easy. You guys know what I go through, and I know what you go through. And so I'm very interested in hearing about your schedules, your challenges. If I have advice, I'll give it. But it's kind of like when you ask somebody who's lost a bunch of weight or got super buff or whatever it is, whatever goal they met, it's never any of this like South Beach diet stuff. It's like, I stop eating at 5 and I start again the next morning. All night I drink nothing but water. I don't go out to Taco Bell. Like, it's very basic stuff. That's what success looks like in these creative pursuits as well. It's like, I stay up late, or I don't go to the bar, or I'm not watching American Idol. That's it. So let me know what you're doing, what's keeping you motivated. If you think I'm full of crap, let me know. Tell me what's different, and I would love to hear that too. So, I'll have more good news. I'll be doing actual detailed project updates at Patreon tomorrow. We'll talk more about what we want to hear about and discuss next week. And I'm loving project season. It's doing me a lot of good. I hope it's doing you guys some good too. So let me know. Take care. Okay, that was one more trip into the Patreon vault, and I hope you enjoyed it. So if you enjoy Game Dev Breakdown in general, now that we're long past the Patreon days and it's just me and you in podcast land, I would love if you would subscribe somewhere, anywhere. Just get those shows, get those notifications coming to you because we put out a lot more content these days. It is on a much more regular schedule, and I would hate for anyone to miss anything if, in fact, you're interested. If you have a friend into this kind of stuff, pass along the good word. Leave ratings and reviews if you have the time. Hit follow on Spotify. That's a big deal there. And show notes are at CodeWritePlay.com. We are all over social media. GameDevPod on Twitter, CodeWritePlay on Twitter, and I am Mechatodzilla on Twitter, 1D, 2 L's. And we have a Discord server too. If you want to hang out through the week, we have people talking about what they're up to, stream announcements, books, games, all sorts of media, anything you can think of. It's just fun to have some virtual coworkers during the week, and that's kind of how we roll. So there's a link to that on CodeWritePlay.com as well, or in the pin. Is it in the pinned tweet on Twitter? No, you should go to CodeWritePlay.com, search for Discord, that'll pop right up. Subscribe or hit follow on our exclusive Spotify weekend show, Game Dev Breakdown Radio, if you get a chance, and if you're interested in a more of a talk radio format with real licensed music. It is a crazy thing I get to do over there, and we have fun with that during the weekends. That is a third weekly show. Good God, I'm tired. Keeps me on my toes, but I love doing it, and I love hanging out with you guys, so get involved. Let me know what's on your mind, what topics you like, news stories, technical stuff. We can talk about anything. This is your show just like it's mine, so work hard this week. Check back in on Thursday, and make me proud out there. Todd Mitchell here. I will talk to you guys later.
Congratulations on your Game Dev Breakdown, whatever that is. Sounds idiotic to me.